Did Herman Melville have a secret muse who inspired his writing of the classic American novel Moby-Dick? Two possibilities are being discussed right now after the recent publication of two new books, a Melville biography and a novel inspired by his personal letters. Here with more is WSJ Arena reporter Brenda Cronin. Hi, Brenda. Great to see you. This is some juicy gossip we get to engage in with one of the most celebrated American writers of all time. Let's start with the first theory, which is put forward in the new biography, correct?
That's correct.
Tell us about Sara Moore.
Okay. Sara Moore was a neighbor of Melville's in Pittsfield, Massachusetts. Melville moved to Pittsfield with his family from New York around the time when Sara was there. She was the wife of a prosperous British businessman. She was not a writer. She did write poetry. She was a famous hostess in the area.
And this is the book that she is mentioned in, correct? Melville in Love.
Melville in Love, yes.
And the author has the theory that based on letters that he read, they were having a love affair?
Yes, largely. Biographer Michael Sheldon read the letters that Melville wrote to Sara, which include many very fanciful terms of endearment, whether he calls her a goddess, lady of all delight. Now, these are terms that other scholars might say Melville used in letters to other individuals and not just to possibly the woman with whom he was in love.
So there's no concrete proof, it's just sort of reading in between the lines.
Or it is interpreting the letters that were written in 1850.
Right.
So one wrote things differently then. And also the record is not incredibly comprehensive. Many letters are missing, so we're having to connect dots in much of this story.
And Sara and Melville, both of them, were actually married to other people, correct?
Melville was married to his wife Elizabeth. Ultimately, they also had children. Sara and her husband had been married for some time. And
so, of course, it would have been a huge scandal if any of this came to light, which makes me wonder, why do you think she didn't destroy the letters if they were at all scandalous?
You know, I do not know. I think, for one thing, the letters are not necessarily evidence because they can be interpreted in various ways. I believe that Mr. Sheldon, the biographer, based his conclusions also on gifts that they exchanged, and for instance, books.
Right, and it's so hard to destroy love letters anyway, right? No one can actually do that. Now let's move on to the second one. This is a novel, The Whale, a love story. The author here also read many of Melville's personal letters and came to a different conclusion, right?
Very different conclusion, very different individual. Mark Beauregard, the novelist behind The Whale, a love story, actually was going to research another book about others in their circle, Oliver Wendell Holmes, and was reading Melville's letters to Hawthorne, Nathaniel Hawthorne. Hawthorne's letters to Melville do not seem to exist anymore. However, he read these letters and thought, this is crazy. These are not just letters from one writer to another, from one founder of American literature to another. These are love letters. And it is true that Hawthorne lived just 6 miles away in Lenox, Massachusetts from Melville. They had occasional visits. They certainly spoke about writing a great deal. Melville was a lion in American literature. Hawthorne was, and Melville was on his way. So
Sara Moore, Nathaniel Hawthorne could be either. We also know that Melville had many admirers, so perhaps he had multiple love affairs. Who knew? Who knows?
Well, the one reason that scholars, biographers, and even just fans of Moby-Dick think about this is because Melville's writing really changed markedly with Moby-Dick. Before then, he had published a number of novels, and in fact, he was a very celebrated novelist for his tales of the South Seas and Polynesia. Moby-Dick was a completely different work. That's why so many people today wonder, what caused this?
Maybe someone inspired him. We'd love to know who. It's so fun to talk about this, especially since the players are all dead, right? Brenda Cronin, thank you so much for that.
Thank you.